by in Kyiv. Hi there, Gulliver. So what are you hearing from the occupied territories about how these referendums have been going?
Well, as you were saying, there have been more and more stories of intimidation, pictures going around on the internet and reports in Ukrainian media with people who've been able to contact people who are in those territories. People in those territories are generally pretty afraid to speak at the moment and to criticize what's going on, but they talk about mobile polling booths, mobile electoral commissions, as it were, going house to house, often accompanied by armed men. I think that people feel intimidated enough simply by the presence of armed men. There has also been some semblance of campaigning. I've seen pictures from Kherson of posters, at least there, saying Russia is here to stay, claiming that being part of Russia means stability, suggesting that one poster I saw suggested that it would mean better maternity care and things like that. And there have also been now figures released by the Russians about turnouts, which interestingly it looks as though they're trying to sort of at least acknowledge vaguely the reality on the ground by suggesting that the turnout is much higher in Donetsk and Luhansk regions, where we know that there is a little bit more pro-Russian sentiment than there is in the southern regions of Kherson and Zaporizhia, where we know that resistance to the Russian occupation is very high. But in both cases, they put the turnout at an absolutely impossibly high figure, for the simple reason that more than half of the people of those regions have fled since the Russian invasion of the 24th of February, and a large proportion of them have fled to the Ukrainian-held part of Ukraine, from where they are absolutely unable to vote. So even if you disregard the intimidation, the fact that it was held almost pretty much at gunpoint, organised at 3 days' notice, which is obviously not enough time to have a proper campaign, lack of free media and all the other things, the simple fact that this is taking place after Russia invaded the territory, forcing more than half of its population to flee, obviously means that these cannot in any way be considered serious referendums.
So, Gulliver, what's the mood in Kyiv then, moving on from the referendums, following Vladimir Putin's mobilization order and then in the same speech his nuclear threats?
Well, the things are linked, of course, because people are worried that after Russia announces the results of these referendums, it will very swiftly announce that it accepts the results and annexes these territories. People are even saying that could happen as soon as Friday. And then Russia would start saying that it's defending its own territory against a Ukrainian attack if Ukrainian counteroffensives continue. And so that naturally means there's a lot of debate about the significance both of the mobilization and of the nuclear threat. There is a lot of mockery going on online. Those videos of drunken Russians being mobilized, a lot of videos also, as we've probably shown, of protests in Russia. But Ukrainians tend to think that there is a tendency to wishful thinking in terms of amplifying the scale of those things, and that although clearly there have been in some places protests, this is not in any way a phenomenon that is spreading across Russia, and Ukrainians expect that the majority of mobilized will come to Ukraine and fight, albeit badly armed and poorly trained. They nevertheless will be forces that Ukraine will have to confront. And then there's the nuclear threat, which has set off a sort of debate that, as one person remarked to me yesterday, reminds Ukrainians of the debate that there was before the invasion on the 24th of February. Will he, won't he? Will he, won't he? And of course, before the 24th of February, a lot of people in Ukraine, right up to the last minute, believed that Vladimir Putin would never dare launch a full-scale invasion of the country, which means that those who are now saying he would never dare launch a nuclear attack have got slightly less credibility, because people are reminded that the more optimistic people were wrong last time. So I think there is a growing level of anxiety, but at the same time, Ukrainians don't really think that they, at this stage, can change their strategy. Obviously, the country is not going to give in to nuclear blackmail and cease the counteroffensive operations in the east and south, and I believe that Ukraine's main allies are also taking that firm line.
Gulliver Cragg, thank you very much indeed.